Om. 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 Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीना पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिम् आनतोऽस्मि नित्यं हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. My humble pranams to all Atma Jyotis, divine light of the self. I welcome all of you to today's session of Yoga Sutra. I am not a Pandita, I am not a Jnani, I am not a Guru, I am just a seeker. I am conducting this study hour as a means for my learning. If there are any mistakes, please forgive me. We are studying Patanjali Yoga Sutra in the light of Vyasa Bhashya. We have completed up to Sutra number 43 in chapter 1. Sutra number 43 in chapter 1. Today we are going to learn chapter 1, Sutra number 44. Let us chant Sutra number 44. Etayaiva savichara nirvichara cha sukshma vishaya vyakhyata. One more time. Etayaiva savichara nirvichara cha sukshma vishaya vyakhyata. One more time. Etayaiva savichara nirvichara cha sukshma vishaya vyakhyata. In Sutra number 42 and 43, sage Patanjali talked about Savitarka and Nirvitarka Samprajnata Samadhi. Savitarka Samprajnata Samadhi and Nirvitarka Samprajnata Samadhi. In 42 Sutra, he talked about Savitarka Samprajnata Samadhi, where the Samadhi where the Shabda Ardha Jnana or Sankirna mixed up. They come together. The sound, meaning and the Jnana, knowledge, they are together in Savitarka. Whereas in Nirvitarka Samprajnata Samadhi, in Sutra number 43, sage Patanjali has told that in Nirvitarka Samprajnata Samadhi, the object shines without the Shabda, Artha and Shruti Anumana Jnana. Only the object shines in its raw nature, in its original nature. That is Nirvitarka Samprajnata Samadhi. Earlier, 42, it was Savitarka Samprajnata Samadhi. Here, the meditation and Samadhi, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi are on gross objects. The object is a Sthula Vastu. When the meditation is done on Sukshma Vishaya, subtle objects, The same is applied, same barometer is applied, but this time when the Shabda Artha Jnana of the Sukshma Vishaya is mixed up, it is called Savichara Samapattihi. And when the Sukshma Vishaya shines by itself without mix up of Shabda Artha Shruti Anumana, only the Jnana of Sukshma Vishaya is there, it is called Nirvichara Samapattihi, Samprajnata Samadhihi. So what is the difference between Savitarka and Nirvichara, Savichara? Savitarka is on the gross object. Savichara is on the subtle object. Similarly, Nirvitarka is the meditation, dhyana, samadhi done on gross objects, and Nirvichara is the meditation done on subtle objects. That's the only difference. So now we will see Vyasa Bhashya. I will not read the Sanskrit of it. I will just give the explanation of it. I have already given the explanation of it. So what Patanjali Maharshi has done in Sutra number 42 and 43, he talked about Savitarka and Nirvitarka Samprajnata Samadhi, which are based on gross object meditation and Samadhi. Now, in this Sutra 44, Patanjali Maharshi is talking about Savichara and Nirvichara Samadhi. And these are same as Savitarka and Nirvitarka, except that in Savitarka it is gross object, in Savichara it is subtle object, and in Nirvitarka it is gross object, and in Nirvichara it is subtle object on which meditation and Samadhi is done. And what is this subtle objects? What are we talking about? This is told in the next sutra, 45th sutra. We'll come to that when we come to 45th sutra. But basically, it is about the 5 tanmatras and ahankara, mahattattva and moola prakriti. These are the Sukshma Vishaya. What are the Tanmatras? See, if you look, you have to understand the way the cosmology is in the Sankhya in the explanation. That is same in yoga philosophy also. So first there is a Moola Prakriti. Moola Prakriti means the root nature. From there Mahattattva came. From Mahattattva Ahankar came. From Ahankar Pancha Tanmatra came. Like that. So Moola Prakriti is made up of Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas, and a mix up of these, they were in balanced state. The Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas were balanced in state, but at the time of evolution, creation, they got mixed up, and different combinations gave rise to different tattvas. The first tattva is Mahattattva, and Mahattattva, further combination of Sattva, Rajas, Tamos gave rise to Ahankara Tattva, and further combination gave rise to Pancha Tanmatras. Now these Pancha Tanmatras correspond to, these you can think of as the subtle elements. See, for example, we have, what are the gross elements we have? Earth, water, fire, wind, and space. And they correspond to Pancha Jnanendriyas and Pancha Karmendriyas. Pancha Jnanendriyas are eyes. Eyes, what do? They do form, sight, which is an element of fire, light. And tongue is for taste. Taste is a form of rasa element for water element. Like that, you have to understand that one. So in that part, before they formed all these gross elements, it formed the subtle elements of sight. I mean, the fire. There is a subtle element just before fire formed. There is a subtle element of fire that is called tanmatra. So for each of the gross elements, there is a subtle element which is called tanmatras. So there are 5 tanmatras, and then ahankara, and then mahatattva, and then moola prakriti. So Vyasa Bhashya says on this sutra for Patanjali, it says we have to understand that when these subtle aspects are meditated upon and understood, along with desha, kala, nimitta. What is this? I'll explain. Together, when this with desha, kala, nimitta, you understand these subtle objects, it is called savichara samapattihi. What is desha? So, in previous sutras, desha means place, space. What is he talking about? Where the meditation has happened. I mean, at the end of the nose, on the tip of the tongue, or talu, like that. So, he has explained, we have seen this in the previous sutra. What does he say? Nasikagra. Nasikagra means tip of the nose. And he mentioned that by doing this, Divya Gandha is experienced. The divine smell is experienced. That means one gets an understanding of smell in its original nature. Smell, nature of smell is understood if you meditate on the Nasikagra. That means you focus on the smell aspect, you will understand what smell is all about. You will understand in its real nature. Similarly, this is desha, means place, where you are meditating on a place, desha. And tip of the tongue, that means when you meditate on the taste, you will understand divine taste, meaning you will understand the real nature of the taste. Similarly, other places we have gone through, further rupa, for the form, for the touch, where you have to meditate, you will understand the touch, real nature of the touch, and sound, real nature of the sound. Okay, so this will tell us the desha on which you have to meditate to know the real nature of the sukshma vishaya, tanmatras. And how do you meditate on the subtle object of ahankara, egoity? It is hrut pundarika, meaning the cave of the heart. Cave of the heart can be thought of as this place. You can meditate on this place. When you say, who are you? Who are you? I am. So the sense of I am, if you meditate, that sense of I am is called Hrut Pundarika, cave of the heart, the lotus of the heart. If you meditate on such places, you will know the subtle aspects of Ahankara and Mahatattva. Now, what is Kala? Meditating on Kala. Kala means time. What time are we talking about? What is meditation on time? It is like this. One should understand past, present, and future. That doesn't mean you are knowing what happened in the past, what is going to happen in the future. Don't go into all those checker. It is like this. The tanmatras, there is a evolution sequence in the Sankhya cosmology. First, there is Moola Prakriti, Sattvarajas-tamo guna, that evolved into Mahatattva. Mahatattva evolved into Ahankara. Ahankara evolved into Panchatanmatras. And even in this Panchatanmatras, the space is the first Tanmatra. Space evolved into wind, wind evolved into fire, fire evolved into water, water evolved into earth. So subtle to gross, you have to understand like that. It is not, now don't say that it is not scientific and science says something else. We are not going there. What we are saying is, behind a gross object, there is a subtle object. That is what you have to understand. See, when you try to understand these things, don't have a gross sense of the world. Everything has to be gross. No. There is a gross, and behind the gross, there is a subtle aspect. Even modern science says that whatever you see, everything is gross elements. If you go subtler and subtler microscopic level, it is atoms and molecules, molecules and atoms, atoms and subatomic particles, and further drill down quarks, and further drill down it is energy. Further drill down we don't know. So it is subtler thing that make up the gross. That is the idea. So in this Sankhya cosmology, subtle is Moola Prakriti. From there, Mahatattva came, Mahatattva to Ahankara, Ahankara to Panchatanmatras, and in Panchatanmatras also Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi. Space, wind, fire, water, and earth. This is the, if you see, it's a sequence, sequential. So if you look at it, What is past of space? It is ahankara. What is past of ahankara? It is Mahatattva. What is past of Mahatattva? It is Moola Prakriti. Now, what is the present? It is Moola Prakriti. What is the future of Moola Prakriti? Mahatattva. What is the present of Mahatattva? It is Mahatattva. What is the past of Mahatattva? Moola Prakriti. What is the present? It is Mahatattva. What is the future? It is Ahankara. Now, if you look at Ahankara, if you stand at Ahankara, Ahankara is the present, Mahatattva is the past, and Akasha Tattva, space element, is the future. If you stand at space element is the present time, and Ahankara is the past, and wind is the future. So this is the Kala you have to understand. When you meditate on this sequence, this is how you have to meditate. What is Nimitta? What is meditating on Nimitta? It is like this. You have to understand the concept of cause and effect. Moola Prakriti is the cause, Mahatattva is the effect. Mahatattva is the cause, Ahankara is the effect. Ahankara is the cause, Akasha Tattva is the effect. Akasha Tattva is the cause, Vayu Tattva, wind, is the effect. Space is the cause, wind is the effect. So there is a cause and effect relationship in this Sukshma Vishaya. One has to be aware of this cause and effect. The effect contains the understanding of the cause. By looking at the effect, you can deduce the effect, cause. Looking at the effect, you can deduce the cause. You can infer the cause. So we have understood Desha, Kala, Nimitta. How to meditate on Desha, Kala, Nimitta, on Sukshma Vishaya. That we have understood. So, meditating on Sukshma Vishaya, subtle objects, when their Shabda Jnana Ardha or Sankirna, it is called Savichara. So, when meditation is done, Samadhi is got on a particular desha. Let us say Nasikagra was meditated upon, and the smell, original nature of the smell is understood when it is known. So what is known? Nature of smell is known. Smell is a subtle object. It is known. So it is known with respect to desha, because meditation was done on a particular place. And kala. What is kala? Smell means smell belongs to smell is gandha, which belongs to Prithvi. So as per kala, Prithvi is the present, its past is Jala Tattva, water element. So kala is also known. Cause and effect, nimitta, Jala is the nimitta. The element of Jala is found in the earth. So that way, these three, Desha, Kala, Nimitta, if any subtle object is meditated upon and is known in Samadhi, with these three together, Desha, Kala, Nimitta together, that is called Savichara Samapattihi. And when it is known, a mix-up of past into the present, it is not considered as Savichara Samapatti. The Desha, Kala, Nimitta of that means the present aspect of the Sukshma Vishaya, if it is known, it is called Savichara Samapatti. So, similarly, Maharshi Patanjali's Sutra and the commentary by Vyasa, sage Vyasa, says that now you know this evolution. Now, how do you meditate? You don't meditate anywhere in these evolutionary stages. You start with the gross, slowly go up the ladder of the subtle. That's how it is done. So, in Savitarka, we start with the most gross element, outside object. First, you start meditation like that. Attain concentration. Then you go to subtle meditation. In subtle meditation also, you start with Prithvi element. Then you go to water element. It is like this. There is an evolution that happened. Why we are doing this? The concept is the evolution, in the process of evolution from Mola Prakriti to Prithvi Tattva to this body, we have come, we have evolved, and we find it problematic. We want peace. So what is the solution? Solution is you devolve into subtler and subtler and into the root cause. There you detach from the Prakriti, from the Purusha. So in our Yoga Sutra, it is told Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So when evolution happened, with that our samskaras, everything, these are all Prakriti based, and because of that we have the vrittis, lot of thoughts. And when you devolve in this manner, in this ladder, step by step into the subtler and subtler, all this thing will get resolved into its root, and tatra that we will be as the in the pristine spirit nature we will stand. That is the idea. That is why we are talking about all these things. The evolution has happened in this Sukshma, from Moola Prakriti to Sukshma to Sthula, and you start meditating on the layers of the Sukshma Bhutas, starting from earth element to Moola Prakriti. That's how you do. In the reverse direction you travel. That is what is yoga. Simply put, we are in the effect. We are in the domain of the effect. And we are finding it difficult. We are having a problem in life. How do I solve my problem? I find the cause and I go to the cause and stay there. If I stay in the effect, I am going through difficulties in life. So this is what you have to understand, why these people are talking about all these things. The evolution has happened and we came into an effect. Now you trace it back into the cause of this cause of this cause, and go to the root cause, and then separate out the spirit and the matter. There you will stay as the spirit. That is the idea of samadhi. Okay. Okay. So that is the idea. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. I forgot to talk about Nirvichara. So the same thing, when we talked about this Deshakala Nimitta, right? When they are like mixed up, it is the Savichara. When they are not mixed up, it is Nirvichara. So in Nirvichara Samapatti, Samprajnata Samadhi, so this Desha Kala Nimitta will not be there. And then Shabda and Jnana will also not be there. And then the Sukshma Vishaya alone will shine in the consciousness. That is what is Nirvichara Samprajnata Samadhi. Thank you very much.